But one thing I'd like to be clear is we don't view this as the end-all of how students should experience learning.
I totally agree. There is no end-all in education. I've always thought that Khan Academy is a learning resource or a tool, just as much as Apple's iPad can be a learning resource or a tool. And the first iPad sold 2 years ago in May 2010. The iPad is amazing, but it's still primitive, meaning it's still in its early stages of development, but with very strong potential. I think Khan Academy is primitive, with strong potential. And Sal Khan feels the same way.
We think that this is really just version 1, and it's a very primitive version right now.
So a primitive version right now? See, this is concerning. This is Khan's vision video that was recently uploaded to YouTube on August 3rd, 2012. That's about 8 years after Sal made his first video. Now granted, those early videos were for his cousins. Sal Khan quit his job in late 2009 to focus full-time on Khan Academy. That's awesome. Unfortunately, the Khan Academy is still using many of the older, raw, unrefined, and dare I say, primitive videos. That's like a tenured teacher using tools and resources from their first years of teaching that were, let's say, marginal or unsuccessful. And yet, in his March 2011 TED Talk, Khan claims that the content of the videos will, well, I'm going to let him tell you.
That this content will never go old.
Never go old? Never go old as in it's always available? Or digitalized direct instruction is superior to human direct instruction? Anyone a million years from now can use it? Never go old seems a little too fluid for me. So humor me, everyone. Think of a teacher you felt was highly effective or had a great impact on you. I'm sure we can all think of at least one. I'll give you a few seconds. So take that effective teacher. They did many things with the content to make their craft of teaching and your learning experience something you would always cherish. Those teachers continually reassessed their skills, their resources, and their tools in order to provide their students with a rich learning experience. I challenge any experienced teacher to claim that their best year of teaching was their first year. Speaking of the classroom, and back to the vision video, what is their vision? This is a great question. Sal lays out 4 pillars that Khan needs to meet. 1. Mastery. Students need to have a deep understanding, especially in arithmetic. 2. Needs to be self-paced, like work at your own pace. 3. Peer-to-peer. Students need to distill content and mentor other students in the classroom. 4. Needs to be interactive, inquiry-based, explorative. In other words, students need to struggle with ideas. This all sounds reasonable, right?
Because we believe that in order for a student to truly internalize all of these things, and it all goes together with especially the idea of mastery, they need to struggle with the ideas. They need to experience them tangibly.
Now you might have questions about the 4 pillars, or we could debate both the theoretical and the practical justifications, but my focus is on the content. I simply wonder about the tangible content students are to receive via self-paced lectures at home. Lectures. Is a digital lecture a tangible experience? Sal, take this one, please.
This is the unintuitive thing when you talk about technology in the classroom. By removing the one-size-fits-all lecture from the classroom and letting students have a self-paced lecture at home, these teachers have used technology to humanize the classroom. They took a fundamentally dehumanizing experience, a bunch of 30 kids with their fingers on their lips, not allowed to interact with each other. A teacher, no matter how good, has to give this kind of one-size-fits-all lecture to 30 students, blank faces, slightly antagonistic, and now it's a human experience.
Did you get all that? Khan Academy creates a human experience? Maybe. This does sound unintuitive to me. And maybe this applies to classrooms where teachers are only doing direct instruction. But Sal, please don't assume that every classroom is like that. Furthermore, a teacher who gives a one-size-fits-all lecture, I would classify many of your videos under that category of a one-size-fits-all. And just because they can pause or rewind your videos doesn't humanize the learning experience. But I digress. Back to the content. Here's my constructive feedback. I think your video content needs to be less wordy and more concise, have less improvisation and be better scripted, have less hand-drawn graphics and more intriguing multimedia clips, news topics, or current events. And lastly, have less direct instruction by proposing more engaging questions to your audience, allowing them time to stop and ponder.